And we're off. We are leaving Gangelt. It's about 10:30 in the morning on the 19th, and Matt is back there with his Hilgo, and we're gonna head up to Xanten, Germany today. About 100 and so clicks, 90 or 100 clicks. So yeah, it was bittersweet. Left the guest house. Good people, John and Chris Black, that own the Altes Brauhaus in Langbroich, Germany. Definitely recommend staying here if you're ever in the area. It's a wonderful place. They're great people. And on to the next chapter of my life in the beginning of this voyage. So here we go. The only two Velomobiles in Langbroich right now, of course. We stand out. As we continued north, we got into Roermond, Netherlands, which is where this picture here was taken. Quite a nice church. And then further north to Venlo, and you see this is like the central shopping district here with the really nice bike paths. And unfortunately, not too many pictures or videos this day because it was just way too hot. Well, I just left Sarah and Matt's house in Xanten, Germany. I really wish I had known them longer. I only met Matt a couple of months ago. They live in a beautiful area of Germany. So I'm heading now back to the main road that Matt and I brought down to the village, and then turning left, heading east towards the Rhine. And then I'll catch a ferry across the Rhine River. And then, yeah, 125 kilometers today, so we'll take our time. And hopefully it's about 10:20 in the morning on the 20th of June. And I'm just a couple of kilometers outside of Xanten on a ferry that's going to cross the Rhine River. Costs €2 to get across, and it saves a bunch of kilometers to go up to a bridge that's further down the river. See some pretty long coal barges heading up and down the river here. This morning I weighed the bike. The bike weighs 150 pounds with all the gear, which is about 60 pounds of gear, and the rest is a Velomobile. And right now I'm doing 33, a little bit of an uphill here, so I'm doing between 30 and 35 with a 150 pound bicycle. Just having a rest in the town. And I always notice that the children are never intimidated to come up and ask questions and talk to me. A lot of times adults, you know, they won't say anything, they won't approach me, but children do. And 4 little boys came up, and they spoke a bit of English, but we were able to converse in German for the most part, and they were really fascinated. And they didn't realize there was a bicycle, and I didn't tell them. And the one asked, what was the fuel? What type of fuel does it run on, right? I said, oh, fuel. And I turn around, and it runs on bananas, right? And you should have seen the look on their face.
Take the next then in 250.
I've probably passed at least 30 or 40 people rollerblading, and you know, with the pass they have here to do it, it's great. No excuse. But you don't see many overweight people here. Well, it's my second night. First night camping, and first night with rain. So we'll see how it goes. Only leaks I had so far. Did get my sleeping bag wet a little bit, but it was these little air vents on the side. And it looks like as of now everything's staying dry, so yeah, we'll see. So we're starting day 3. Left the Blue Lake and heading up to a place called STELLERSEE near Bremen. About 125, 130 kilometers. It rained all night last night, and I couldn't really use the solar panel because of the clouds and the rain, so today I had the solar panel mounted on the hood of the Velo. I hope it doesn't damage the finish, but I could fix that later if it does. But I'm able to charge it all day and hopefully top everything back up So yeah, it rained really hard, but no water got into the tent. That was great. And the Velo was actually really dry this morning too. Just a little bit of water around the combing, around the opening. So yeah, everything's going good. Legs feel good. Got some breakfast. So really excited about the day. About an hour and a half north of where I started, and the landscape has started to change. A little bit of a hill here, but I'm in the downhill now, so I'm coasting. For the last 5 minutes I've been coasting, doing roughly 40. The trees have started to change, a lot more pines, and looks like birch or spruce trees. And it's definitely gotten a little cooler. The sun's out today, so I'm able to hopefully charge this solar panel up well, and but it has gotten a little cooler. I'm at a higher elevation here now. I can definitely feel it. But I'm going alongside of a forest here, and it's I've seen a bunch of wildlife running back and forth. It's really a beautiful place. I'm here in the town of Vechta. Looks like they have pretty good bike networks here. They have a an elevated bike path that I'm gonna take, and it looks like it crosses the railroad tracks here and makes its way into the city. So I'll head that way. A minute ago I passed an old man. He was on the bike path and he was walking with a walker, and he was in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea where he came from, but he was walking, you know, quite slowly with the walker. So I was going towards him.
Now continue straight on T for Weg.
I took the street to avoid him so he didn't have to get out of the way, and he stopped and put his hands in the air like as he watched me go by. You could just see it in his eyes, man. He was so happy, and maybe he felt a little victorious himself. It's nice to see that in people. This is horrible.
And good morning. It's an absolute glorious morning here. Everything stayed dry last night. We got a beautiful sun this morning, so yeah, I was up at 6:30 because it already started to get warm in the tent, but that's okay. And got the solar panel already mounted out here, hanging out, charging up the backup battery I have, and it is cooking away at 2 amps, which is pretty much like plugging it into the wall at home. So thank you to the sun. It's going to take care of that while I go get a quick bite to eat and get cleaned up.
So I left STELLERSEE this morning at around 8 and got some breakfast, and heading towards the coast of the Elbe River. And I'm currently coming into the city of Bremen, which is definitely going to be the biggest city that I go through until I get to New York City.
Here in the Altstadt of Bremen. Beautiful, beautiful city. Never been here before. Amazing, the detail in these buildings. then the church here is so big you can't even get it in one picture. But twin bell tower. The clock up there. I don't know if you can see that. Just a really neat central square here in Bremen. Gedenke der Brüder, die das Schicksal unserer Trennung tragen. Which I think means remember our brothers who carry the fate of our separation. I don't know what that's signifying. Maybe East and West Germany? Don't know. Maybe somebody can help me out there. Morgen. Wow, look at this. It's beautiful. These are little windows to capture the light, I guess. It's just amazing.
So I just left Bremen. Really, really nice town. Definitely want to come back someday. I was coming on the outskirts here. There were some people standing on the side of the road and it looked like they were praying. When I got up close and I realized that they must have ran over a cat. There was a cat sitting upside down with its legs literally sticking in the air. It's kind of comical looking. I'm not a cat person. I hope I'm not offending cat people, but they were pretty upset that they had run that cat over. So, yeah, I'm heading up to the lighthouse today. Lighthouse camping on the Elbe River, and I should break 500 kilometers today. Forests are all gone, and about 10 kilometers from the river, from the Elbe. The name of the town is KRAUTSAND, and I think I'm going to stay here 2 nights, rest up a little bit. Well, hello. So it is Sunday. Took a day of rest today, which means that I'm only going to do about 45 kilometers. I'm going to ride about 20-some kilometers out to this town of Stade.
Good morning. I'm in the German town of Stade, which is on the Elbe River here in at the junction of Schleswig-Holstein, the German state of Schleswig-Holstein, and Niedersachsen. And would you look at this place? This is a canal that's leading out to the Elbe, and then everywhere you go, there's beautiful little walkways to explore, and cafes, and then there's got 2 very prominent churches and cathedrals here in the town. And then this crane here was built in 1977 by soldiers in one of the local regiments. 1977 was constructed. I guess used to offload barges as they would come up and down the Elbe. This company here on the Elbe is
making it looks like emergency lifeboats for a cruise ship, the 7 Seas Splendor. Well, good morning. I'm on the ferry from Wischhafen over to Glückstadt, Germany, and about €3, and it saves a hell of a long trip. You have to go all the way to Hamburg, cross the river, and come all the way back. It would be at least 120 kilometers or more. So saves a long trip. It's a good day so far. I actually had to take a 25-kilometer detour because I got within sight of the ferry here, and there was a drawbridge open in front of me, and it only operates on weekends for some reason. So 25-kilometer detour to get back to where I needed to be, and did some quick shopping, and here we are on the ferry. So we get across, and we only have about 90 kilometers today. Get to our destination, and I need to get out of this sun. It's supposed to get really hot this week, up to 37, 38 Celsius, near 100 Fahrenheit, my US friends. So the faster we get north, the better. Hello. So I'm in Schleswig-Holstein, and what I've noticed already is there's quite a lot of industry here near the river. I see a lot of power plants, a lot of wind farms. There's windmills everywhere, even in higher numbers from where I lived, and power lines. So obviously they're generating a lot of electricity in this area, and with the wind and the water here, I guess it makes sense. I thought what I passed was a nuclear power plant earlier along the water. It looked like something like that, but probably not. I don't think Germany's doing too much nuclear, but yeah, extremely flat, and obviously windy, but the wind is in my favor. It's behind me right now, and it was a little pain back there because as I was along the water, there were a lot of sheep grazing areas, and they had these metal wildlife gates, and they were spring loaded. Not like the cattle grates, you can just ride right over those, but these actually had doors that you had to open, and so I had to get out of the Quest and open them. But yeah, we're all through that, and we'll see how today goes. I guess got about another 60 or so kilometers. So I'm in the town of Meldorf, and found a nice Italian place here in the Marktplatz, in the central market area. It's extremely hot today. I don't know what the temperature is, but I've went through about 4 liters of water in a couple of hours, so I'm going to stay out of the sun here for a little bit and enjoy some Italian food and some ice water, and get back to it. I only have about 30 or 40 kilometers left until the campsite. Passed through this town of Wewelsvleth, and it was quite interesting. It's on the north side of the Elbe, and they had just launched a ship that they had been restoring. The ship is called the Peking, and it was a steel-hulled 4-masted sailing ship that was built in the early 1900s or late 1800s. At some point, it was either seized or taken to America, and it was in New York City for a long time. And then it was actually given back to the German government, and it was brought here to Wewelsvleth, and they have some shipyards here. And they restored the ship, and they just put it in the water a couple of hours ago. And I went out to the coast there to see it, and there was an older German couple there, Heidi and Klaus, and had a conversation about it. They were telling me that it was going to be taken to Hamburg and be a museum ship that's going to be in the Hamburg harbor area. So pretty neat. Just a couple-minute detour. It was only about 2 kilometers away from my route, so figured I'd stop and see it. And yeah, we're back on our way. I am at a flood protection dike called a Sperrwerk that protects the town of TÖNNIng, which is inland some kilometers, I don't know how far. I just met Louis and Susanna, and spoke to them for about 25 minutes in German the entire time. and Louis and Susanna are not German. But they couldn't speak much English, but they could speak just about as much German as I can, and it worked really well. They're actually Spanish, and they're from Madrid. They were both born in Madrid, and then they moved to Austria about 10 years ago. Actually, all three of us from time to time could not figure out the German word to use, and we were suddenly remembering a Spanish word or an English word, mostly Spanish words, and me too. For some reason, I kept mixing up some words and throwing Spanish in there. So, Dad, if you're watching, I didn't forget all the Spanish I learned. It's just been buried and not being used, but I thought it was really interesting. They drove all the way here. I'm now at the northern point of Schleswig-Holstein, right on the ocean, and they're from, again, drove up from Austria on a holiday, and yeah, they were really enthralled at the Velomobile and had a lot of questions like most people do. But then what a small world, because we realized that his grandfather had served in the Spanish military at some of the same places that I had been. It just goes to show that it's such a small world, and the people that you pass by every day, you have no idea how connected you might be to these people. So it was really neat. Had a great time talking to them, and actually I'm a lot closer to my campsite as I thought. I'm only about 10 clicks away, so I'm still up on this flood barrier. I'm gonna back down from here and get back on the road and go set up camp. Really windy, and the Quest is cutting right through it. It doesn't even make a difference. It's amazing. So take it easy.
Oh, shit, ich hab ausgemacht.
Oh, she's beautiful. Sie ist sehr schön, sehr, sehr schön. Nur 11 Minuten alt, ja?
Ja. Die Mutter und der Vater ist Dogge, Rhodesian Ridgeback gemixt.
Ah, okay.
Hier, guck mal.
Sehr schön.
Guck mal.
Well, I'm just a couple kilometers from the Danish border. Stopped to get a bite to eat. And then I passed through a town a second ago, Rodenas, heading towards Rosenkranz. And that must be one of the last towns in Germany before I cross the border into Denmark. I got a car behind me here. The road's really narrow. It's pretty marshy here. There's a lot of like cattails, and must be a pretty high water table here. But yeah, we're getting there. It's still really hot. I've already done about 90 kilometers and I have about 45 left, something like that. Well, we made it.
At this intersection, go straight onto road.
We are at the Danish border. Here we are, folks. Denmark. And I got about 700 kilometers through Denmark to Hirtshals.